MashaAllah, that's fantastic. And MashaAllah, so that was fantastic. Just on the last one, I was reflecting on, because you're the second person who's actually made an issue out of, and a very rightful issue of translating Allahu Akbar as Allah is greater, instead of the typical Muslim translation that Allah is the greatest. Because when we say Allah is the greatest, it's as if we know what is great. So it was actually another person who I always talk about, Dr. Sayyid Pasha was an amazing person, and he translated it as whenever we say Allahu Akbar, say Allah is greater. And that might be above too many people's heads, but the more they reflect on it, they'll eventually get it. So mashallah, fantastic expression. It just shows how much you have been reflecting, and something we should all do. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Allah is greater than just a blank space. Fill in the blank, Allah is greater. Whatever you put in that blank, Allah is greater.
So, I just had a quick question. Do you tend to write, or do you kind of just go with the flow and then kind of try and remember what you wrote, just out of inspiration?
I guess it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm just like doing something like cooking, I tend to basically cook and basically just freestyle as well. What I prefer to do actually is just write things down just so I don't forget it as well. But sometimes you don't have a pen or a pad or your phone as well, so it's one of those ones that you can either sort of, wait until you get a pen, or just try to basically formulate it in your head as well. It's almost like wahi stuff, but when you get like sort of an inspiration, the way it comes to you, you could be doing anything with that, So the best thing to do is like write it down. But if you can try to sort of like memorize it. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah. Ilham for us. We're non-profits. Yeah, I learned something very interesting recently, because I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to mostly freestyle, when I was a kid growing up. I'd get in the kind of circle and just freestyle, totally improv. Unpremeditated, and it was actually inspired by jazz, because the jazz players, many of them who were playing their instrument as a sacred act of worship, and many of them were Muslim, living down culture, mashallah. They would play for hours, and they would enter like altered states through their playing. And there's something when your kind of rational mind isn't part of it, when you can actually enter into a powerful state. Sometimes, usually it's not so impressive, but every once in a while you catch a glimpse and you ride away. And but what I found recently is that Mawlana Rumi, he has two main books, the Matnavi and then the Diwan-e-Shamsi Tabriz, which is named after his teacher. And the Matnavi is actually, it's like the commentary on the esoteric meanings of the Quran. And it's really beautiful. He says things like, when you read about the Pharaoh in the Quran, don't think about the Pharaoh in history, think about the Pharaoh in you. And like his point is that everything in the Quran is in you. But it's using many beautiful stories and allegories to illustrate these points, and it's very story to story. But the Diwan is very different. It's kind of like these short bursts of inspiration. It's not kind of very regimented at all. And that's because the Diwan was his freestyles. Yeah, that actually he used to enter into ecstatic states and he would whirl, and that's where his murids, did the whirling, became whirling, known as the whirling dervishes after that act. And in this state of ecstasy, his murids would actually write down what he was saying, because he was just purely coming from his heart. So he had his written raps and then he had his freestyles. So that's why I like to say, like, hip-hop is just the most recent manifestation of the primordial art of poetry and drum. Just like Islam, brought by Sayyidina Muhammad is just the most recent manifestation of the primordial religion behind all religions called Islam. That was the religion of Adam and Eve. Yeah, but that really didn't answer your question, but